One media outlet facing backlash over its coverage of the protests in Cuba versus the coverage of the Black Lives Matter protests in the U.S. last summer. Take a look at the headlines. This is from Reuters. The first one, more of an assertion, if you will. The Reuters says Cuban protests risk exacerbating COVID-19 spike, end quote. And there it is on your screen. But for BLM protests in the U.S. last year, they ran the second headline asking, did events like protests and bar reopenings lead to spikes in COVID-19 cases? Question mark.
If you read in the article under their coverage of Black Lives Matter protests specifically, public health experts say there has yet to be conclusive evidence of large-scale spread from these events. Again, that was included in their coverage of BLM protests, and now they're posing the question about these Cuban protests and the risk it leads to when it comes to COVID-19 spikes. All right, panelists are standing by. Betsy McCoy, Bill McGinley, Rebecca Walser. Rebecca, what do you make of the difference in tone of these headlines and coverage that we've seen for when it comes to these specific protests?
You know, Emma, it's really a shame because Reuters is traditionally thought of as one of the most neutral news organizations that we have globally. And this is just very clear. We call it, as a lawyer, prima facie evidence. On its face, it is clear that they are treating two different events totally differently. If it's a cause they support, like BLM, they support it, so it's fine. They're in wide open spaces, and there's no risk of spread, and it's widely dispersed, and it's fine, and they're encouraging it. But if it's the Cubans protesting for freedom and food because they're running out, then all of a sudden they're exacerbating their risk for corona and COVID-19. People are not dumb. I don't know what these news organizations think, but we can put two stories side by side and say there's bias here. And frankly, we're getting sick of it. I am over it. I am fed up, and I know Americans are. To report the facts. Report the facts. That's it.
There you go. Look, I want to put this one out there, too. Singer and Cuban-American Pitbull. Did y'all see this? He's voicing his frustrations. He used some choice language, but don't worry, we edited it. But Pitbull put this on Twitter. Watch.
This is a message to the world. We need to stand up, step up. But if you don't understand what's going on, then you need to wake the up. We need to figure out how to really help. We need to get creative. We need to figure out solutions while they're losing their lives over there literally for something that we wake up every day and appreciate, which is freedom.
So, Bill, he goes on to talk about stop with the politics, or scrap politics, put it aside. There are some people, wealthy people, that are flying themselves off to space and such that actually could use this money. There's some way, there's efforts that people that have the resources to come together and help the Cubans that are feeling the oppression out. Bill McGinley, your thoughts on that and a voice like Pitbull stepping up?
Look, I think it's incredibly important that he speaks out, and I think he's absolutely spot on. In the Western Hemisphere, we have one of the most brutal authoritarian dictatorships 90 miles off the Florida coast. And if we can't stand up and stand shoulder to shoulder with the people who are actually fighting for the principles that America stands for, liberty, freedom, economic freedom, the ability to make a better lives for themselves and their children, then we have a real failure of leadership here in the federal government at the top, because this is exactly what we should be doing. This is a unique opportunity for the Cuban people to begin to experience the freedom that a lot of the people who fled that island country and came to the United States have fought for. It's time for the United States to stand shoulder to shoulder with these brave patriots down in Cuba and help them get the freedom that they deserve and that the Western Hemisphere demands 90 miles off the Florida coast. Yes. It's time for the Biden administration to step up and do what's right, provide internet access so that the Cuban people can get the information they need, and let's get freedom to that island nation.
Cuban-American voices continue to get louder and louder. The White House will not be able to ignore that. Betsy McCoy, Bill McGinley, Rebecca Walser, we are out of time, but we appreciate the great discussion with you today. Thank you.
Thank you.